You know, out of all of Dean Koontz's books, and there are heaps, this one is and always will be my favourite of all time. Let's have a chat about it. What's up guys, welcome back to Unlimited Reads. My name is Chris and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Lightning, my favourite Dean Koontz book of all time. I've now read it for the 4th time and it just gets better and better each time. Now if you've never read Dean Koontz before and if you're curious, Lightning is the perfect place to start if you're wanting to delve in. Any book you can start with, but I highly recommend this one because I guarantee that by the time you finish it, you'll be wanting to read more of Dean Koontz's work. Now, before I start with the review, just want to share with you how I'm going to do my book reviews moving forward on the channel. I've put together some steps or a specific formula that I'll use to do the reviews because I just want to keep everything consistent, so every review I do will follow the same pattern. So the steps I'm taking for reviews moving forward is I'll start off with a bit of background info about the book. I'll touch upon the synopsis and the plot. I'll talk about the characters. I'll talk about the pros, the cons, so what I liked and what I didn't like about the book, and I'll also include favourite lines or quotes from the book if there are any, and I'll also finish with 5 reasons why you should read the book, and the last step will be giving it a rating out of 10. So for the sake of consistency, I think it'll be a good way of reviewing a book and gives as much information as possible. Okay, so let's start with some background around the book. Now, as any Dean Koontz fan will know, a lot of his books feature dogs as a main character, and at the time when Lightning was produced and was going to be published, Koontz's publisher wasn't overly thrilled with a new book that didn't feature a dog. At this point in Dean Koontz's career, he just wanted to branch out and do something he had never done before, and Lightning was so different to anything he'd written previously that the publisher didn't want to take a leap of faith on who would become a mega million copy selling author like Dean Koontz. They were comfortable enough to just have all his stories feature dogs. And he said that the publisher did tell him that, no, look, we just want you to keep writing about dogs. And Dean wasn't having a bar of it. So eventually the book got published and the publisher didn't think it would do well. But of course Dean proved them wrong, where it became his best-selling book to date in 1988 when it was finally released. And it just proved that the publisher shouldn't have been an arsehat about it. Have a bit of faith in your author, and now the rest is history. Dean Koontz has become one of the best-selling authors of all time, and I just felt that it was really good that Dean Koontz stood up for himself and got his own way. And particularly with a lot of the titles that we know that have been published, Dean actually had different titles for them, but the publisher changed the titles on him. So they didn't really give him free rein in terms of creativity, which I think was wrong, but there you go. So let's look at the synopsis now and the plot, and I'll just read to you the blurb on the back cover. So it goes like this. The first time lightning strikes, Laura Shane is born. The second time it strikes, the terror starts. Though 8-year-old Laura is saved by a mysterious stranger from the perverted and deadly intentions of a drug-crazed robber. Throughout her childhood, she's plagued by even more terrifying troubles, and with increasing courage, she finds the strength to prevail, even without the intervention of her strange guardian. But despite her success as a novelist and a happy family life, Laura cannot shake the certainty that powerful and malignant forces are in control of her destiny. So Laura's led a pretty eventful life. She became an orphan at age 8. She narrowly escapes the advances of a sadistic pedophile. She loses one of her friends in a horrendous accident. Her life could have been radically different had it not been for a stranger who appears amidst strange lightning bolts, and he intervenes and saves her at various points in her timeline, and in turn changes her destiny. Now, Stefan Kriegler is a time traveller on the run from those he betrayed in his own timeline, and Laura gets embroiled in his fight to survive, and together for a large part of the novel, Stefan, Laura and her son Chris are on the run and have to fight against the relentless threat, and Laura will experience terrible grief in the process. Now, the nagging question throughout the whole novel is, why does Stefan Kriegel have such an interest in Laura? And you do get the answers later on in the book, but you have to wait until you're about 3/4 through to get that satisfying answer. So let's talk about the characters. Firstly, Laura Shane, her courage and strength, how she overcomes obstacles, her maturity she displays as an 8-year-old. You can't help but admire her, and after you close the book, she'll resonate with you for a long time afterward. Dean has written her that well. I like the complexity of Stefan as he strives to be a better man and breaks away from the superiors that he believes are doing evil, and feels that no one should have time travel technology as it's too dangerous, and in the wrong hands it could be catastrophic for the future of the world. And he doesn't hesitate to potentially sacrifice himself in order to save Laura. So he has many layers to him that get peeled back over the course of the novel, and he's a really engaging character. And Thelma, Laura's best friend, is brilliantly written. She grows up to become a comedian, and she bonded with Laura like cement in childhood when they were orphans together. She's quick-witted and has some of the best dialogue in the whole book. And all his characters read like real people. He is the best at characterization, in my opinion, even rivaling Mr. King. So let's look at some pros. Now, time travel is one of the most difficult subjects to write about, and Dean has mentioned that he most likely will never write about time travel again. However, he does pull it off really well. He doesn't go into great detail about the technology, and he doesn't need to. He sticks to the rules of time travel with respect to paradoxes and probability scales and all that shit, and he touches upon a sound theory that destiny tries to reassert itself no matter what you do, and it tries to stay on its original course, which he cleverly did that in the book. The interaction between Stefan and a couple of historical figures as he fights to change the future and the worlds was original and compelling, and it's something you don't really see much in fiction, and I thought that was very well done. The characters are all richly drawn, and they've all got multiple dimensions, and as I mentioned, Koontz is one of the best writers on the planet that really excel at characterization, so much so that the characters just stay with you. And a character like Laura Shane, ever since I read the novel for the first time in 1988, she still resonates with you because he has done such a great job in creating her. Let's look at the cons. Now, there's only one slightly negative thing I'll mention about the book, and I think it's the action scenes. They could have been a little bit shorter. A couple of times they appear to be a little bit drawn out, but look, it's only a minor gripe and doesn't really impact the story too much, but it was probably my impatience to get my answers and advance through the book a little bit quicker than I should have. In terms of favourite lines or quotes from the book, I have only one, and it's the first line in the book, and it goes like this. A storm struck on the night Laura Shane was born, and there was a strangeness about the weather that people would remember for years. There's no heavy or detailed description as you find in most books of the era, and it's concise, it's straight to the point, but gets you asking questions straight away and hooks you immediately, and you have no choice but to read on. Now, the 5 reasons why you should read the book. The first one is Laura Shane's a character who will resonate with you for a long time after the book is finished, which I've mentioned. It's got some great tense action scenes and really cool exploration of how time travel works and what are the ramifications, what makes a paradox, and what are the consequences of meddling with time. Number 3, it's the courtship between Laura and her future husband that in the first portion of the book, which is really sweet. It's very original, and for the hopeless romantic, it is a joy to read that part of the book. Number 4, Laura's friendship with Thelma is excellent. It's so well written. The engagement between the two characters is just bang on. Even the term of endearment that Thelma uses for Laura and calls her by her surname, and has done so since childhood, is just a master stroke. I just think the interaction between Thelma and Laura is just gold. And number 5, it's long enough so that you can really immerse yourself and get lost in Koontz's brilliant prose. I can't recommend this book enough. If you haven't read Dean Koontz before, pick this up. read it. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. It is my favourite Dean Koontz book of all time. And finally, my rating out of 10 is a solid 9. So I love this book a lot, and I certainly plan on reading a lot more of Dean Koontz's work in the future. I plan on going all the way back through his backlist. This year alone, I have read about 5 or 6 of his backlist books, and there are gaps as well. There are some books that I haven't read, and I plan on doing that, and I'll be reviewing every book on the channel, so watch out for those. But there you go, guys, that is my spoiler-free review of Lightning. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, offer any comments up below and I'll always respond to those. I'm always up for a chat. Let me know if you've read any of Dean Koontz's books and which ones are your favorites. And yeah, there you go. Thanks again, and until next time, see you later.